Welcome to the
The
WuKong
WuKong
Fam,
Fam.
an authentic look at life,
Love.
and everything in between.
So yeah, tonight we
had plans.
We had plans.
We had plans, we had plans to launch our YouTube channel
and
by
do it
going
live on
and
YouTube.
we really like going live, because I think it's, again, if our intention for this channel is to be real and to be authentic, there's nothing that gets more real than doing it live, because you just, whatever happens, you know. We really enjoy it, and we enjoy getting the questions and interacting. But then we learned 24 hours ago that you cannot go live
on
YouTube
mobile.
on mobile, which has a better camera, because honestly our webcams on our computers aren't great. You can't go live on mobile unless you have
1,000 subscribers on your channel. So before we start this video, I think we want to appeal to everybody and sort of ask everyone who's watching.
If you're watching this, make sure to hit subscribe. Okay, firstly, we have 2 milestones to get to. 100 subscribers will let us have our own WuKong Fam channel, so you don't get this super long jumbled mix of letters for a link. And secondly, is to get us to 1,000 subscribers.
So we can go live and we can live stream ourselves on YouTube.
Yes.
It's 2 important milestones for us to hit for the channel.
Thank you for your support so far. We'll get there soon enough. I feel I'm running for such a
But yeah, we're obviously, just starting out this channel, and of course the channel is meant to be a way for us to stay connected with everybody, who's watching and who's back home in Singapore, given that we're living in Los Angeles and, many, many miles away from home. But yeah, we want to, be able to live stream, because that's really how it all started for us. We started
live stream our cooking shows.
Yeah, we were live streaming our home cooking, and we were live streaming our life back in Singapore at our apartment, and yeah, now we're kind of like transitioning towards being, having a YouTube channel, and this is a milestone that we must hit. So yeah, before we go on
we
this
need
video,
your help. So click
like,
that
comment,
bell.
subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share this with people you think that would be interested in talking about love, relationships, life, marriage, everything in between.
Right.
But anyways, so we do want to answer your questions because you guys took the time to submit them. So we answered some of them on Instagram Live instead, because we figured that one out. Or Facebook. YouTube is still a new thing, and the thing is, I used to run a YouTube channel for work, right? But running a channel for work and doing your own are two different things. But anyways, so let's look at some questions we have. All right. So when people should we answer questions first, or should we look at the challenges people were facing?
Yeah, so I think just some context, Jiezhen did post up some stuff on her IG stories and kind of ask, what do people, I guess, find most challenging or to an extent struggle with the most when it comes to relationships. And so people send in some questions, and we're going to be answering them in turn for this short video.
So maybe we could start with this question, because it seems chronological.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So we have a question. Where did you meet for the first time?
Right.
So where did we meet? We don't have to do the whole story, but where was the first time that you remember meeting?
Well, I mean,
we both remember 2 different occasions.
So I first met Jiezhen, or was first introduced to Jiezhen through our mutual friend Claire. Shout out to Claire, Salty Wee, who probably may never watch this because she's not on social media. But Claire went to law school with me in Australia.
Played tennis with me. And we met, Jared remembers meeting me at Claire's house. But interestingly enough, the times that we both remember meeting each other for the first time, we were both seeing other people. When Jared first met me, I was still seeing someone else.
Velvet Underground. Right?
That's when I remember meeting you.
Right.
You were still with your previous girlfriend.
Yeah.
And that was at Zouk. It was in the cave in Velvet Underground.
Oh, that's great.
And
so many memories.
So much fun. And when you first remember meeting me, was at Claire's house, and I was still seeing someone else. Actually, he was there. He was at that dinner.
Yeah.
But nothing happened, and that was just when we first met. But it wasn't until later on that, the sparks flew. And
but interestingly enough, the sparks first flew at Zouk as well, right? you know, and yeah,
later on, many years later,
many
after
years.
this time when Jared didn't
Yeah.
even remember meeting me that time, you know, but
Yeah.
it's all good. Everything in its time.
We
But that
found
was
each
when we
other
first
at the
met. But we can do another story on that.
Yeah,
next
there's a
time.
whole like backstory to like how, you know, the sparks flew and all that. But you know, we'll save that for future content.
Yeah. So another question: how do you maintain a LDR?
Oh, so LDR for people who don't know, long distance relationships. I mean, I think maybe just to set some context. I mean, we're living in a period of time where long distance relationships are way more common than before. I mean, our relationship really very much started off as a long distance relationship. I was in Australia, attending college there and university there, and Jiezhen was here in the US.
And I think long distance relationships, if we can live, work, play in, you know, across the world. I mean, now COVID is another situation, but COVID has kept a lot of couples apart as
Yes.
well.
Including
you know,
us, you know.
Yeah, including us, and several of my friends that are currently doing long distance as well. But the fact that you can live, work, play, you're gonna meet people from different places. You're gonna have different, you know, adventures and opportunities, and that's just a part of it, and it's how we embrace it. And I think I remember at the beginning, like my first long distance relationship, it was tough, you know, and there's so much to get used to. But I think if anything, it's made our relationship stronger. I think communication is key. Making sure that you align expectations, like even the small things, like how often do you want to talk? Like I could probably talk.
Method of communication. You know,
Yeah.
there's one
Is
party
text or
yeah,
is it
prefer
you need a
texting,
FaceTime?
FaceTiming, emailing, snail mail.
And figure
you
out what
know.
works for you as a couple, because I think every couple probably has their different preferences.
Yeah.
Like, and every individual has their different preferences. So figure out what works between both of you. Like Jared, what is your preference?
I mean, I really enjoy FaceTime. I mean, I think the I'm so thankful that we live in an age where video chat is a real thing. You know, I remember something that maybe a decade ago people were thinking, oh, this is just something that you can only imagine in the movies. But you know, I think FaceTime has, you know, fundamentally changed the way that we can communicate and maintain long distance relationships.
In our relationship, because
yeah.
when we started, it was Skype,
Skype,
and it was
yeah.
on your computer, so you had to turn the computer on.
Yeah.
And yeah, WhatsApp didn't even have calls. Cause you remember when I was in Indonesia and you had.
Yeah, I blew like lots of Skype credit, you know, just to speak to her for 5 to 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
But you know, that's real love. You know what? And I'm glad I did. That was money well spent for sure. But yeah, you know, technology has definitely evolved to make it easier. I think I think it never gets easier. It gets more manageable, as I always like to say, and it really comes down to making those choices of like, how do you want this long distance relationship to
Yeah.
be maintained? You know.
And what do you want it to be? You know, like you
Yeah.
can really talk as much or as little as you want. Like, you know, I think for some of my friends who are doing long distance, they like to talk multiple times during the day. For me and Jared, I think we text throughout the day maybe, but like we only talk once or
Yeah.
twice maximum during the day. Sometimes maybe I'll call him if I'm walking somewhere,
Yeah.
but you know, for the most part, I also don't need to talk that often. I could probably talk once every other day.
I like to talk to her every
Jared likes to
day.
talk every day. He wanted to talk twice a day, and then we were like, okay, let's find somewhere to meet in the middle.
Yeah. But I think what's a couple of other things worth mentioning. I mean, we were doing long distance up to very recently as well.
We'll probably do a whole video on long distance.
Yeah.
Like a whole series on like what helps long
Yeah.
distance. It's not like we are the experts,
Yeah, but one final point I think is, you know, it always does help if a long distance relationship has an endpoint.
but like you were working
Or
towards something.
you working towards, you know, like a common milestone, right? Which is you know, when you know, both
When
of
are
you
you next gonna
will
see each other?
you know, planning for a trip together, or just kind of like planning that future together, because then it allows you both to have something to work towards, like Jiezhen mentioned, and something to look forward to. And I think that's quite key, you know, in sort of ensuring that you eventually know that one day, at some point in time down the future, you will be closing the distance, and
Yeah.
that's something to look forward to and something to celebrate, of course.
Definitely. Let's see. How do you resolve small or more intense arguments?
So the common adage, you know, your wife is always right, always applies. and happy wife equals world peace, and that was
That's what Mama King
that's what
said.
Mama King said. But in all seriousness, I think it's not a question about being
It's not
right.
about being right. It's really not.
It's again, going back to
As much as I like to be right.
having that. I think having a foundational level of openness in the relationship to talk about sort of issues or disagreements, maybe not as immediately when they happen, but to kind of address them in a space and time that will allow both parties to really be objective in terms of like evaluating what happened, but not kind of like just burying it and like sort of suppressing it. Still feeling however you may be feeling.
Feel what you feel. Experience your experience.
During the I guess the argument or the disagreement, but I think knowing that you can always talk about it openly, honestly, with the intention of like letting the other party be become a better version of themselves. I mean that's the only reason why disagreements might even happen in the first place. It's like it's always with the intention of becoming better, right? At least that's how I sort of view it as well. But how do we resolve conflicts? I mean,
I think together,
arguments,
resolving conflicts together, because there's going to be big things and small things that come up in relationships, and
how do we grow together? From a particular like this.
Yeah, conflicts. I think something that
like
I
no
really
conflicts,
believe
no
is
growth, right?
And conflict is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Conflict is almost an opportunity, like an opening to be like, okay, how can we do something different? Because something's not working, right? And it's an opportunity to have a conversation, to find ways to love each other better and support each other better. So, it's like little things, right? And even this week, I can think of a couple of instances where we had little like disagreements, but it's about kind of being able to call it for what it is and just be like, okay, let's take a step back, and then we talked. I think I got upset during the day, but then we talked about it on our walk later. So you don't even have to resolve it in the moment, but don't let it like sit around for too long or fester, that it kind of just becomes something bigger than it needs to be.
And recognize that there is beauty in there being a difference. Like I love vanilla ice cream, Jiezhen doesn't. I love soft and chewy cookies, which Jiezhen just baked. She likes them a little bit more crispy and crunchy, and that's okay. I think it's all right to be different. I think if we were literally mirror images of each other, I think it would be a very boring life that we would be living. I think.
Yeah. And we do have more questions, but we also don't want to keep this video, make it too long.
Yeah.
But as Jared said, I think we're always learning. We're still so new at this. And yes, we've been together for 8 years, and married for 3, but it doesn't make us, an authority on this.
No.
But I think it's something, and we'll talk more about,
we're learning
our
as
channel.
much as everybody else.
And there's intention in another video maybe, but let us know what you want, what kinds of content, topics you want to hear, what kind of questions you have, because we're figuring this out together. And you can hop over to our Instagram to see the other questions that we answered over there. But thank you so much for submitting your questions. We're always happy to take more of them. So put them in the comment box below. Remember to hit like, subscribe, and
hit that bell notification so you know when we upload next.
But thanks so much for tuning in today, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.